All right, we are live. I have the wonderful, fantastic Alex Scheuermann, close anyways, the great author of The Odelic Stone. Just got this read a couple weeks ago. Fantastic, fantastic. So, how you been, Alex?
Busy, busy, busy. I was telling you I have a new child, and that's keeping me up at night. Literally because I have to take care of him at night.
Oh, yes. I can remember those days. The very first day that we brought our daughter home, she turns out apparently had like an ear infection, and we
Oh
didn't know
no.
how to have her stop crying. And her or my mother in law had to come stay with her while I ran to the doctor to get some eardrops and stuff. It was a miserable first evening,
Oh man.
but it got better. So, how
Yeah,
old? How old
we're
is your
pretty
son?
happy with how he is now. He's starting to be able to look at things on the wall and focus and smile
All
back,
right.
which is great.
Yep, that's awesome. Got Shane in here. What's up?
Hey, Sean.
Or Sean, I mean, sorry. How you doing? So I guess we can get started on some questions. I guess tell me about your book, or tell
Yeah.
everybody else about it.
So, The Odalic Stone is a young adult fantasy adventure. It follows the main characters, Astor Rutherford, who is the son of a postmaster, and he's always wanted to leave his village. And there's a sickness going on in the village that kind of gives him his excuse to leave. So he goes and jumps on a ship to try to find a doctor in the big city, and he has no idea what's going to happen to him, but a lot does.
Yes, it is very, very good. I really enjoyed it.
Great.
Really, like Astor is a super cool character, and looking forward to if you continue to write in this series to see where he goes.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw the character art I got for him from Dewey Conway.
Oh,
Oh, okay, I'll have to share it
okay.
later, but it's a picture of Astor just fresh out of his town, with his messenger bag, and he's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And what I'm planning on doing is for book 2 is I'm having Dewey commission another one of him right after book 1, because I just want to see
Oh,
how much he's changed throughout the book, because there's a lot of things.
yeah, yeah. That ending, I didn't know if he was going to survive. Let's leave it at that.
Well, in one version, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
So that was me, having a really serious think about
What?
where the story was going to go.
Yeah. So let's put up. Let's see. We got Lorraine in here. Hey, hey. How are you, Bella? What's going on? You turned gray. Yes. We got Shane. What's going on? So, if let's say that would have happened, would that have been where the series ended? Like if you'd have just spent that, like you killing your main character off?
Well, okay, so I was really inspired by both Game of Thrones, how
Okay.
the main character wasn't really the main character. Ned Stark, he was kind of the catalyst for everyone else's journeys. And then Attack on Titan. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've seen the first 2 seasons, I think.
Yeah. So that's enough.
Oh,
So essentially, when Aaron pretty much gets eaten,
yeah.
I thought that was going to be it. I was like, whoa, that is not where I
Yeah.
expected the show to go. And then stuff happens. I don't want to spoilers, but I was like, that is the coolest idea to kind of start a series. And so at some point, I toyed with that idea, of making it, the story's not about who you think it is.
Yeah.
And I still went that direction, but in a slightly different way.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on, Molly?
Hey, Molly.
That would have been very interesting for sure, because I don't think I've read a book yet, which I hadn't read a ton, of course, but
Uh-huh.
that kills the main character off. The very first book. That would have been a way to go for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still feel like this book isn't about Aster as much.
Okay.
And again, I don't want to do spoilers, but
Yeah.
you know, the the whole hero's journey that I put into here, Aster goes on a hero's journey, but it's not 100% him that kind of solves the hero's journey, if you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Okay. What's going on, Rachel? Oh, yeah. They one thing that surprised me about this that I did not pick up, it may that I didn't pick up on, was that you were going to have a lot of like ship stuff in it. Like I was not expecting that at all. And then whenever they first set sail, I'm like, I didn't think this was supposed to be like a broad, like go out over the seas and everything. It's like it surprised me, and I liked it. It was really
Great.
cool going back and forth from the like villages.
Yeah, so
It's
like
cool.
the reason for that is, you know, I wanted to kind of have a little bit more old fashioned feel, low technology, and the main way people got from place to place is they had their cities on rivers and lakes,
Mhm.
and they used boats. And yeah, you could cart things from place to place, but the most efficient way is ocean travel and travel up rivers, and that's just how you get places faster. So that's kind of,
Yeah,
if you look at my map, every important city, everything is always on the water,
yeah.
somewhere. Um,
I really liked what's her name? Is it Kara or
Kara?
Kara? Yeah, I really liked her as a character too because she was kind of like she probably could have done stuff on her own and like strong enough person that could have handled everything.
Hmm.
But then Ghost, I felt like went through a really good. Does she will her and Aster get together? Will they not? Maybe. And I thought that was really neat.
Yeah. Aster is my main character, Bella, but also not necessarily the not the. How do I say this without spoiling it? Other characters do things that are more important than what Aster does.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So back to Kara. So yeah, Kara is my strong female character because her arc is all about leadership and really, what it means to kind of lead a group of people, and like you said, she's also kind of Aster's love interest, but at the same time, she's got her own stuff to take care of. She doesn't have time to, fall in love with a boy from a backwater village.
Yeah. And it was so I liked I guess you would say main bad guy in this, or your main protagonist. Was he Aster's friend in the beginning? Or
Yeah, I mean,
were they
they,
not
they
like
they were friendly. I wouldn't say they were like close friends, but they were
yeah,
acquaintances. They liked each
yeah,
other. They hung out
yeah,
whenever he was in town. So,
yeah. I loved that final, I guess you'd say, battle scene with all
uh-huh.
that was all in play. It was really cool. And the setup for if there's going to be a book two or whatever is pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's definitely cliffhanger-y.
Yeah.
And it's all related to the magic system, which has kind of just been introduced. And man, I wish I could talk more. I just don't want to get into spoilers.
All right, we'll move on. All right, so what would you say your inspiration is in writing this book?
Okay, so I wanted to tell a birth of magic story. I wanted to say, okay, at the beginning of the story, magic really isn't known. The characters moving about don't really have a lot of knowledge. They don't know magic. And there's a couple of exceptions to that, mostly like the monsters and fantasy creatures. And then, um, yeah, there's a couple like magic artifacts that are kind of relics of an ancient era. But by the end of the book, it's like magic has been introduced to this world and like broadly. So that was kind of my inspiration.
Yeah. What did you have any say influences that got you to becoming an author, or was it just something you always wanted to do?
No, I kind of one day I was like, I really like fantasy, and I love Lord of the Rings. I love all these other fantasy stories. I recently read Joe Abercrombie, and I really enjoyed those books as well. And I was like, you know what? I think I could do this myself. So I took 5 years, and I wrote this book.
Hey, that's all right. Just I get so impressed by anybody that can write a story, especially. I mean, heck, yours is what, nearly 400 pages, 430, right at it. Like, just I know I can't do it because I can't come up with anything like that, and especially to write anything that's long. And it blows my mind on how amazing all of y'all are at doing this in general.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. Yeah, it's not easy. I won't lie to anyone. It is a marathon, not a sprint, and you have to be good at so many things. Like you have to go, okay, I got to worry about characters and plot and setting and my descriptions and making sure my prose reads well. And okay, now these characters are gonna have dialogue and making sure you can do that and it doesn't sound like stilted. And it's tough.
the dialogue part would be what would get me. Like I feel like I could come up with some story, but it's the what does this person say to this one, and just having a normal conversation back and forth
Mhm.
seems super difficult.
I'm the opposite way. I find the conversation the easy part, and I have to go back and I'm like,
Really?
okay, well, what is this character doing while he's saying this? What is
Yeah,
in the room? Oh, they're on the ship, so what is the ship doing? And I have to
yeah,
fill those details in afterwards.
that's awesome. I wish I could do something like that. So you said that what'd you say, the Abercrombie books and stuff,
Mhm.
like you enjoy. Is he like a author that influenced your writing, you would say, or is there like different?
I kind of read Abercrombie when I was almost done with the Autolic Stones.
Okay.
So, I would say he does influence my writing in the fact that I think he writes characters really well. And
Mhm.
so I try to kind of analyze how he's done it, what kind of characteristics he's given these people and how they view situations, how they think versus how they act. And I think I'm trying to be influenced by Abercrombie in that way to because and I'm sure you agree he's got really good characters.
I've read one book. I've read The Blade itself. That's it, and I loved it. Glock is my favorite character.
Glock was great.
So good. And I've got the books to finish, like the first trilogy. But yeah, he is so good at his character work writing that I mean, I've heard a lot of people say it. It's true. You don't even have to know who is saying it. You just know who it is
Mhm.
by the words that they say. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where his genius lies in the characterization department is you're so deep in the point of views of these people that yeah, exactly as you said, you don't really need to see Glockta said dialogue tags and whatever you know because the way they think and that's
Yeah.
perfect. And I'll say I think the Blade itself is the weakest of that trilogy
That's what I've heard.
because I wouldn't give it a 5-star rating because it does not have a good enough plot. And I guess what plot it does have isn't really revealed until the later books and you understand what all has been going on.
Mhm.
But, having a bunch of random POVs just kind of randomly meet together in a city is
Yeah.
not a plot. And so
Yeah.
I have to knock a star off from the Blade itself. But I really like book two's he does a really interesting thing with the plot in book two, and then book three is amazing. So the whole
Okay.
series I did quite enjoy.
Yeah. Well, Rachel, maybe Logan on Fingers was just the result of some dodgy AI hand art. Could have messed something up. Not to read his stuff. Heard so many people say he's the best with characters. I would agree. Just from one book alone, and I'm supposedly it gets like the whole second trilogy is way better than the first one.
Yeah, I haven't read the
Um,
second trilogy yet, but I
yeah.
did read uh oh, I forget what it's called. The standalone where she goes and she's got to kill a certain number of people.
Oh, Oh, jeez.
Whatever. I
I
read
don't
that one,
remember.
and
I
I
know
think
you're
I
talking
like that
about.
one the
Yeah,
best.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Yes, I think I did bring up his character work in the last live that I had.
oops.
uh, he's very good.
Yes, best served gold. Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Avid book junkie, what's up? How's it going? Oh yeah, it he impressed me with that first one for sure. So I'm very excited to continue on and reading his stuff. Like it sounds awesome. And then, are you going to read The Devils that comes out? I think it's in May.
Uh, I have so much to read. Probably not. I mean, maybe at some point. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
no, but not anytime soon.
I want to. It's just the yeah. I'm kind of like I would at least like to finish his first, the first Law stuff before I try
Yeah.
something different from him. So, what would you say your process is of writing? What was your process of writing the book?
Open a Word document, cry a little bit, type a word, delete the word, type another word. No, I think what I did first is I actually made my map, and I kind of placed
Okay,
out all the different towns and, like I said, all the cities by the water. And then I thought about my main character, Aster, and figured out that I wanted him to be the son of the postmaster, so he'd have a reason to kind of go around places and a reason to write all those letters. And then I was like, oh, the structure of my book, I want every chapter to end with a letter. And so it was
love
kind
it.
of the map and then the structure and then the characters and then everything else fleshed out from there.
The letters to me, which I don't know if this is how you planned it out, but it was almost like a summary of the whole chapter before. And I loved that so much. I've never seen that before. I was like, this is when I first read the first one, I was like, that's really awesome. Like, I know, like, you can remember most things. And then you read the letter and you're like, yes, I picked that up. And that I didn't pick that part up, but okay. Yeah.
That was kind of one of the things that came with those letters. Is at first I was like, well, what do I write? Well, I was like, well, Astor would summarize what happened, right? Because that's what he's saying. And
Yep.
then I was like, but also I could add more characterization of, okay, what does Astor think about these things that, after he's had time to sit, he had maybe different thoughts than how he just reacted to things. And then it slowly kind of drifts a little bit away from summary. And by the end of the book, it's just completely new things and hints for other things to come and other characters having thoughts on things. So I quite enjoyed the letters, that
Yeah.
structure.
I thought it was really cool. Like that was, like I said, a really cool idea. I don't know if other books have done that. I've not seen it.
You read Sanderson's Mistborn, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So he doesn't do letters, but he kind of had, little hints of things at the beginning. I think it was of chapters.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
like the
kind of like that. But yeah,
yeah.
I haven't seen too many people
Okay.
do letters
Yeah.
proper.
It's kind of like his oh geez. Well, in the Stormlight archives, after every so many chapters, he does I can't think of what it's called.
The
But he has like two
interludes.
or three, yeah, the interludes and stuff. And so half of those I didn't care for, but that's
Yeah,
the whole topic.
there's a lot of interludes that I was just like, okay, I guess interesting, maybe
Yeah.
not really.
People that have no point in the story whatsoever, and let's spend 30 pages on reading about them.
On the plus side, at least they were all pretty short. So
Yeah, that's for his books. So, all right. Would you consider yourself a plotter or a pantser?
yeah, I consider myself more of a plotter. Definitely, I'm more in the middle of the road than anything. But I'll go through and I'll say, okay, here are some major plot points I want to hit. Here are some major character arc points I want to hit, and then say, okay, where in the story do these need to land? And so I'll kind of plot the big picture stuff, big scenes, big character moments, and then kind of go and look at where my chapters need to lie. And then, chapter by chapter, I'll go and I say, I need to hit these three things. And then I'll just leave that blank for me. And I'll like, okay, at the chapter level, I'll just kind of explore, right? And I have kind of some milestones to hit, but I'll just kind of get there. But big picture stuff, I like to plot it out because otherwise you kind of get lost in the weeds a little bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be spending 3 chapters on some minor point in some town and not get to where I need to go.
Yeah. I think I see the positives and negatives to both because I understand like plotters a lot of times, or by what kind of sounds like for some people, is they'll plot out so much that they have no wiggle room on the way that they do stuff, and that limits a lot of things. But then on the other way, it's kind of like what you said. You'll just end up in some random town and spend, 2,000, 5,000 words on you just walking around a town.
Or you could be like George R.R. Martin and never be able to finish your series because you can't tie all the plots together.
Exactly. I've not read. I've watched the whole series of Game of Thrones. I've not read the books. I have them. I'm going to read them this year, and I'm very curious how that goes on that because I loved the series. The last season was awful, but other than that, the other ones were great. I thought, and seeing how good it is, like how much better are the books, is what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I haven't read them myself, but I hear they are significantly better. I mean, it's got more room. I feel like because books are written, they just you can spend more time on them, so all the characters feel more developed, and that's why I think the books are always better than the movies because you just have more space.
Yeah, there's only a few that I've like. I used to love. Oh, what is it? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Loved that movie. And then this past year, I read the book, and the book is fantastic, and went back and watched the movie, and the movie's awful. It's so bad to me now. They leave so much out. It's terrible.
I haven't seen the movie in, it must be 15 years or something.
Same for me. It was, 15, 20 years since I've watched it. Absolutely. And it was so awful. But then, on the other hand, I loved the Princess Bride movie. Mm-hmm. So I went and read The Princess Bride and loved the book. And I went back and watched the movie again, and it's just as good. Yeah. There's some that's left out, just because it's a movie that you can't. But, man, they're both fantastic. So, so George R. R. Martin's thing, where he's at, won't ever finish. You're more than likely it's not going to happen. If you were in this situation where he's at, would you write the book just to finish the series so people would shut up, whether it's good or not? Or would you just leave it and have people mad at you?
I'm a completionist. If I start something, I really got to finish it. So I would finish it just for my own sake. But, I mean, he's got all the money, all the acclaim. He's got no reason to finish it. So that's why I don't think he's going to. It's like nothing he can do will be as good as the hype. And so I think he's got a really complex writing challenge, all these different plot points to have a satisfying conclusion also is just impossible. But me personally, I would finish it just to do it because it would drive me crazy not to.
Yeah. We got Dave. Here's a stream with a really cool guy, and Alex as well, I guess. I wish that was true. I'm a loser. Let's see. I think George is too old now. I could absolutely see it. Maybe he's just stuck to where it's just like no matter what he does, people are not going to be happy because if the book is not just the greatest thing ever written, people are going to be mad about it. But then they're going to be mad if he don't finish it. So he's probably more stuck now. Princess Bride film is so good. Unserious, tongue-in-cheek fantasy is something I haven't seen really anywhere else. I 100% agree with this. It is amazing. Dave, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, Rach.
Yeah.
Yep. Also,
I was gonna say, when is Dave gonna self-plug? Also, there's a book I'm reading. This is my current read, The Ballad of the
very
Company. This is also kind of tongue-in-cheeky fantasy as well.
Yep. How far are you in it?
About halfway.
Okay. Have you met the people? The
old couple,
the older couple.
Yeah. That was great. I love that scene.
Yeah. Yes. It was really good. So. Let's see.
So I had a question for you, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
So you're a big gamer, or you used to be?
Yeah, but I still play some.
So I feel like right now, in society today, younger boys specifically are a lot more interested in video games and kind of, that kind of media rather than reading. And I was just curious what your thoughts on that were, if you think that's true or not. And then, like, what do you think authors or I guess book promoters need to do to kind of get more boys back into reading? Because I feel like when I was younger, reading was never popular, but it was like easier to find a book in a library. And now I feel like there's a lot of distractions, like video games and other media that take that attention away.
I totally agree on about everything. All right, so obviously, you've probably heard I've said it multiple times. I did not start reading. I hated reading until last year, January, and because I got burnt out on gaming and stuff, and that was always my hobby. I was never a good reader in general, and I'm super slow, but I guess I felt inept at it, and because I wasn't good at it. I mean, I can read, but I'm just, it felt like I'm just sitting here, and I'm not understanding, because I might have a little ADHD because I have to read sentences a lot of times 3 and 4 times to pick it up. So when I finally, which, I'm older now, of course, too. So I didn't have time to game near as much. And all the games are so dang long. Now a lot of times they're all 30, 40, 50 hours or more. So I couldn't get nothing done with my job as well. So when I picked up a book and I started reading and fell in love with it. And obviously that's what I've been doing ever since. Now you fast forward to my son, who is 10, about to be 11. He loves video games, and he plays Fortnite and Roblox and Pokemon and stuff like that. But he struggles with the reading. He's been diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. And we have went through multiple classes, and he's trying super hard, and he's doing really good from where he's at. And I think it works kind of like for him with that is I think a lot of people are like this. If you do something and you don't feel like you're really good at it, what do? More than likely, you're just going to quit it and don't worry about it. So me, my wife, are trying to push him more into trying to read, or, even if it's smaller books. And I've been bad at it too. I need to read with him and to him more, but that would help a lot, I think. And taking away, which he doesn't have a phone. My daughter does. She's about to be 14, but taking phones away and limiting video games. And I know that's crazy for me to say, because I've been a gamer forever, But unless you put something in front of them that they're going to enjoy, which is the big thing about like fantasy, you think about stuff in your mind. And if you're a young boy and young girls that like fantasy stuff, if you're liking the Avengers and, dragons and stuff, then if you can get immersed, you're going to love it, more than if you just give it the time. And that's what it took for me. I just needed the time to get into a story and continue it. And it's helped me tremendously. Now, my daughter is right the opposite. She will read. She's not a fan of it, but she does. She's read all of the Percy Jacksons.
Oh, that's great.
I'm talking like not the 6 books. I'm talking like the whole of everything. I think she has 1, 2, 3, 4 books out of like 25 that she hasn't read. And now she's about burnt out on she's read. But yeah, so I think that would help. We'll say that. So let's see. We got more comments. Let's see. My 15-year-old loves Star Wars, and he is discovering Star Wars books, and there are tons.
Yeah, that's great. And there's some really good Star Wars books too.
Yes, we like Star Wars quite a bit too. I haven't thought about trying those out with him. I may look into that. There's a trilogy, Jam in the 90s. Okay. I've heard Timothy Zahn's really good, like the books that he's wrote. Yes, the Thrawn trilogies, or the book. I think it's a trilogy. Maybe it's supposed to be great. And then Brando Sando. Yep. I had the, what was it? The Skyward series, I think. I didn't read them. I ended up giving them back because I was trying to get all the Cosmere books. So that would definitely try to do something like that. I've got the first three of his Steelheart, Firefight, and Calamity. Have you heard about those? His
I haven't
YA
read them
stuff.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, they're think of The Boys. You've watched, have you ever seen The Boys?
Yeah, I'm
Um,
familiar.
they're think of a YA version of it. So the bad superheroes are the bad guys,
Hmm.
and but it's not near as great.
Well,
We'll say that.
you said it was YA, so
Yeah, that's why it's like way tamed back, but it's really good. And
yeah.
like the prologue, that was the best. I'd probably read 10 books before I read that first one. And that prologue is so good, it hooked me for the whole book. I mean, it blew my mind how good that prologue is for just that one YA book. I couldn't
Wow.
believe it. So let's see. Yes, I think we go through phases of burnout. My vocabulary is 80% from reading as a kid and 20% English lessons. I could see that.
Yeah, it's the same for me,
Definitely.
Rach. I think all my vocabulary is from reading.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like mine would be a whole lot. I'm not the smartest person in the world, of course, but I definitely feel like my vocabulary has changed even in this past year of reading so much. Because my
Sure.
wife's even mentioned to me, he's like, when do you ever say that word? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I've read it. Because I don't, it's weird how that works. No. Okay.
Yeah, so back to the boys into reading discussion. So I think what started my reading journey is my father would read the Hobbit to me, and we got about halfway through it, reading at night before bed, and then I was like, I need to know what's going to happen next, and so I took the book from him and I read the rest of it in like the next 2 days or something.
Yeah.
And we did it with a couple other books too, but then him reading out loud was just way too slow for me, so I had to know what was going to happen, so I read it next.
Yeah.
And I think that was like early middle school. Or
Okay. I have The Hobbit. I've not read it. I've watched all the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbits movies multiple times, and I love them all. A lot of people don't think the Hobbit movies are that good. I think they're great. Not as good as Lord of the Rings, but they're good.
I would say The Hobbit is probably my favorite book.
Okay.
And it's definitely an inspiration for the Autolyc Stone.
Yeah.
So when you read it, if you find any similarities, shout me out.
Not bad. So, do you have a favorite character in your book?
Yeah, I think I like Calantha the best. She is my scientist in a fantasy world. She's very critical about how she thinks things work, and I thought her introduction was also really well done for her twist later.
Yeah. I was not expecting that. I thought something was up with her just from a few of the things that you had wrote in the book, and then that twist, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. It makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
It seems like I put it in a weekly update or something because I'd said something about it. I was like,
yeah, you mentioned
I was
it
not expecting that to
happen. But did you ever go back and read her introduction?
I did not.
You
I will
should,
do that
because in the tower there, how she introduces herself to Aster, it gives like everything away. But if you don't realize it, I think I wrote it really well. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I think I wrote it really well to like reread after you know what the twist is.
Okay, yeah, I will definitely go back and check that out, because it seems like the part that really got me with her was whenever they, not really spoiler, but whenever they got thrown off the ship, basically, and then she's nowhere to be seen, and then all of a sudden she appears, and
with the pirates.
And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, is she like a super like spy, like secret something? And then when you find out, that makes a lot of sense there. Okay, so so it sounds like comics, Star Wars graphic novels, and they have cool illustrations as well. Okay, we have, which I've not to read. I need to read it. Have you heard of the Wing Feather Saga?
No.
Okay, it's a 4-book series. Apparently, it's pretty popular. They've got a graphic, or not graphic, like a manga, maybe type anime type stuff, book or movie as well, or it's a show that my son's watched like the first one of it, but we've got the 4 book series, so I need to read that to him. It's supposed to be like really good. Dave said my mom read to me consistently as a child or as a kid. And then both my parents read books, encourage reading. Reading is my first choice activity. So it was not. It was not my last choice activity. Like I played sports, and when I wasn't playing sports, I was gaming, and that's about it. That's all I did.
Yeah, well, Dave is a really good reader. He reads so many books and writes reviews for them, so I'm not surprised to hear that, Dave.
I see his Goodreads. I get one every day. Dave finished this book. No, he's finished this one. He's got 7 that he's got on his want to read.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. So, what would you say your favorite, or do you have a favorite line in your book that you wrote?
Not really. There, honestly, so I got my first quote in the wild from another fellow author who was reading through, and I was like, I don't even know what this quote is, and I had to go look it up. And I was describing the mountains, and I described the way that the mountains look versus the sun. And I was like, this is a beautiful line. I do not remember writing this at all.
Yeah. I'm always curious about that too, on like if authors are be like, you write something and then you just think it's like, oh, this is the greatest line that's ever been written, and I did it. How that ever feels.
I'm very critical about my own writing and picky about my word choices. And so I always think about it as this could be better. This could be better. This reads not very good. I need to fix it. So I typically don't look at, I'm so good. I have I think I'm mediocre.
Well, I mean, you only get better. I mean, everything that I've read, especially people that have like sequels out or different books, like 9 times out of 10, like they get better at writing. I guess that's just kind of like everything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
I actually have a fun fact about that. So it took me 5 years to write The Autolyc Stone. And as I'm writing it, I could go back and read the first couple chapters and realize how much better my writing had gotten just in those chapters.
Okay.
And then by the end of the book, I had to go and look at the first chapter and the last chapter, and they were completely different. Like the last chapter read good, the first chapter read like crap. And so I had to rewrite the first couple chapters multiple times just to keep up with how my writing has improved while I wrote the book.
Yeah. I can totally see that on, like, say, one person that I've really noticed it, Ron Cahill, or Cahill, however you say his last name. I read The Fall, which is the novella.
Right.
Fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I mean, it's nonstop, fast paced, super short, constantly. I mean, there's battle the whole time is just to be one big battle in like 4 different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get through with it, you go into what is it of Blood and Fire? Yeah. And it slows way down. And the whole first probably 10-ish chapters, the writing on it is just not as good. Like you can it just seems weird. Like even the pacing in it's kind of weird. But then after that, it gets better, and then it ends on just not even a cliffhanger. It just ends. Like it's like he writes a sentence and then it's over, and you're like, "Where's the rest?" But I feel like, and I don't know if this is true, but I feel like he wrote The Fall after he wrote A Blood and Fire, because it's so much better. And everyone says like his writing gets way better the further along in the books that he gets, and they get bigger too. So I'm curious if that's how.
I'm sure it's part of it. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Because I even had people before I started it, they were like, just stay with it, because the first 10 or 15 chapters, he's like, I've had multiples tell me that I nearly DNF'd. It was so bad. And then got on further. And it's true. It does get way better just in that one book. So I'm curious what it's like through the whole series. Oh, Dave said I played sports and read, went a few hours TV. See, I wasn't like that, which I come from basically a single, like my mom and dad got a divorce when I was 6, I think, or 7. I think I was 7. So my mom was working. I'm at home. What am I going to do? It's gaming. Oh, let's see. Totally with Ryan. I took a while to get into it, but it's flowing now. Okay. He did write the ball after. That's what I thought. It just feels like a totally different book, even though it's a novella. So it's really good. All right. So will there be an audiobook for the Odelic Stone?
Maybe. I've thought about it a couple times. I think there's a couple like Molly and Dave have kind of done their audiobooks recently. Dave's isn't released yet, but he's been talking about it in our Discord about the process. And I'm a little nervous to kind of put down the money or to sign the agreement with a royalty split, but I'll say at some point, probably by the time I finish the series, I'll put the audio together for it. But as of right now, it's not a priority. I think I need to focus on writing more first.
Yeah. Okay. So, speaking of, are you working on any other projects right now?
I've got a couple projects in the pipeline. So the first project that's going to come out soon, and I've mentioned this to you before, is so I'm a part of a group called the Secret Scribes, which there's a lot of Secret Scribes in our chat right now. So hi, Scribes. We put together a anthology. It's going to be fantasy, and the theme is locks, keys, and secrets. And so there's about 10 short stories. Some are related to our worlds. I wrote a completely one-off new world, new adventure, less than 10,000 words each short story from 10 of the scribes. And so that's going to be coming out hopefully late spring, early summer. And we're really excited about that. I've read all the stories and they're all phenomenal. So that's the next thing coming out from us.
Awesome. I can't wait.
And you're going to be getting a copy, and whether you like it or not.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out a way if we could ever get like some massive, like where everybody could get on. I don't know if you can do. I don't know how many you can get on StreamYards. It might be 10.
Yeah, I think we've had some with like 7 or 8. So I think 10 might be the.
That would be cool. Get everybody on and talk about their story each.
Sure, that sounds great.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Okay, let's see. We got more comments. Dave said, need to go back and finish the Blood and Fire. Got bored the first half or halfway. Yes, it took me a while, but it does. It really does get better. I think you'll like it. After the trial, I don't know, Dave, if you made it past the trial yet, but they go through a trial. It gets a lot better after that. So that's not really a spoiler, but see, I've always loved both, but if I were to be honest, reading more than gaming. I'm like that now. The only thing that kind of gets me hyped right now, basically, is I just started Hogwarts Legacy.
And
it's really dang good.
Yeah, I heard that was a great game.
It is, and that Avowed comes out next week, I think.
Oh,
it's so bad.
Yeah, so I actually like gaming more than reading. Is that blasphemous? The thing about gaming is it's very much I could do it. I've been doing it my whole life. I could do it and not even think about it. Like,
yep. Same way.
Go through the motions. Have you ever played PUBG, Rowdy? PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I'm terrible. I was terrible at it. I was better at Fortnite before Fortnite. If I don't have to build, I can play Fortnite.
Yeah.
I'm
that's my problem with Fortnite too. But that's why I really like PUBG. Is because it's kind of more realistic, more gritty, but and you don't have to worry about building structures. But I don't know. There's just something about it where I could like decompress and take my mind off and just relax, even in a crazy shooter situation like that. But and then reading feels a little bit more active, but it's also not too bad. But then writing is tough. Writing is exhausting.
Yeah, I could totally see it. Because I mean, for one, like you said, you can absolutely turn your brain off in game. It don't matter, even if it's like a Dark Souls or something like that, which I don't play because I'm not good at it. But I can just let that go. But you're constantly having, like, if you're reading or writing, it's way harder to do. Expect like me, I can't be around anybody if I'm reading a book because I can't retain anything. If my wife is talking or the TV's on, I don't even try it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If there's noise, I can't read.
See, Rachel has never heard of the Secret Scribe. Very interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah. Dave, I just wrote Lorraine fan fiction.
Dave's short story is Lorraine fan fiction. So
Okay.
You'll have to read it to see, but
Okay. 10K was very difficult.
we had to cut some words from Lorraine's story. She didn't like that, but it worked.
Yeah, she might have been like, "Why don't you cut words from your story and I'll finish?"
Oh, she could have taken words from my story. She could have taken words from many people's stories. She's got a lot to say. Lots of adventure in her head.
Yeah, that's awesome. Her books look really cool too.
Oh, they're great.
So I will eventually get to everybody's. Like I said, I'm on E.H. Bradley's The Ranger right now, and then Bella's The Sorrow of a Wise Man.
Oh yeah, I have that one. I haven't started it yet though.
Yeah, I'm hoping next week, like next week or the week after one, is when I'm going to start it.
Great.
So I'm looking forward to it. I thought, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought that it was a romantic book too, but it's not, because she had wrote me and says no. So is her other series that? Is it the Dream Thief?
Yeah. The Dreams Thief is more
okay. Maybe that's where I thought from.
Yeah,
I was like,
okay, just got them swapped in your mind.
In that. Okay.
Yeah, this one is supposed to be more traditional epic fantasy. Okay. I don't know very much about it other than that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do it first, and then I'll go back and do the Dream Thief. And what's the second one? I don't know where it went.
Blood and Dreams.
Blood and Dreams. That's correct. Yes. Yeah. I got a stack here. I'm making a video tomorrow for a book that I have. So
yeah. Okay. So other projects. So that was just the Scribes anthology. So I have another. I've been calling it my secret project, and it's going to be a fantasy murder mystery project, and it is going to be very silly. It is kind of D&D style races and setting, but murder mystery focused. This main character is very much a downtrodden, mean person, to complement the fact that she's going to an island for a strongman competition, and so there's going to be 8 buff, nice men on the island, and they're all really kind. And so she's gonna be the investigator, and something's gonna happen in the middle of this competition. So
heck yeah, that sounds awesome.
That's gonna be my next release. Very silly, very high concept, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's kind of taking my expertise to the next level of writing, because it's a character I'm not used to, and murder mystery, which I'm also not used to writing, and reverse harem. It's not far from the truth.
Smut Lord now.
So, okay, in the Secret Scribes Discord, I've been asking them how much spice do they enjoy, because I'm currently writing a spice scene important for the character, but I was like, how detailed should I go? How detailed do you guys want? Because in the Autolyx Stone, there's no spice really, but this one is going to be adult, and therefore I can have more spice. So I was asking them for advice, and of course,
yeah, Tim, what's up, Tim? He even said he was always a smut lord. Let's see the cover already.
Okay, so I'll spoil the title. The title is "And Brains There Were None," because they're all dumb. All the men are dumb.
That sounds interesting. I'm very curious about this. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, should be fun.
Are you writing book 2 of this?
I am. I'm about halfway. I have about halfway written. But I'm focusing on these other projects first. I kind of had a shaky start for the Autolyx Stone. It seems like it's kind of being picked up more now, but I released it in April of last year, so it's been out for 9 months or so, and I hadn't gotten very much hype around it, to be honest. But then I joined the Secret Scribes after that, and it feels like, as a collective, we have a little bit more hype around us, and then people like you. Thank you so much for everything you've done for my books and for for the other scribes. I think, it's been a slow progress, but every person who reads it gives me more motivation to continue the series. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to diving back in and finishing it off.
Dave saved Alex. You heard it here first. He admitted it. I baited him into it, Dave. So are you planning on like a trilogy of this, or is
Yeah, the Alex Stone is planned to be a trilogy. So
okay. I would say I probably like trilogies the best, just because I mean there's some, when you're looking at 8, 9, 10 books,
yeah,
it's crazy. My plan for next year is I'm going to start Malazan or Malazan, whatever. So I'm collecting the books now. So that's going to be probably close to a 2-year process because I hear they're super difficult, and I'm excited to start it. I want to do Eye of the World or
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time, yeah. But that's 15, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that again. After reading all of Sanderson, I need a break.
Yeah, I would, give yourself plenty of time, especially because there's no rush on that like Sanderson, where he had a book coming out soon.
Yeah.
So I didn't finish The Wheel of Time. When I was reading it, it was when the books were still coming out. And then the author passed away before I had finished. And at that point, I was already, forgetting characters between book releases and forgetting what happened. There's a lot of POVs.
Yeah. I see that because like there's a lot of people like I'm sure you've seen as well on like before Wind and Truth come out, where people are having to reread all of his stuff to try to remember people. That's the one luxury I've had, is that I just got to blaze through it all. So I could remember a lot of the characters and everything that went on, but I couldn't imagine waiting 4 or 5 years per book and remembering anything of it.
Yeah, it was wild. And I think if I'm ever going to try to go back and finish, I'm going to need like the summary, chapter summary, character summary sheet up like next to me while I'm reading, just so I can keep track of all the side characters.
What do we got? For me, being a judge in the SFINCS novella comp has come a revelation. Novellas are amazing. Yes, I totally agree. And I have a bunch that will be read this year. A whole bunch.
Yeah, so I'm also a judge in the Sphinx novella competition, and I'm really enjoying it. I love the fact that novellas are nice and short.
Yes.
There's some chonkers in the fantasy sci-fi space, and it's nice kind of change of pace when you can potentially read a whole book in one setting and, maybe two settings. And
yeah, there is. I think I've got at least 15 that I need to read already, and that's what I like about them. I mean, basically 125 pages or less, knock that out in 1 or 2 settings and then move on. Doesn't get much better. Okay, so let's change it up a little and a little more about you. So, random question. What's your favorite food?
Oh, favorite food. I'm going to go with pizza just because it's so generic and you can kind of customize it a bunch of different ways. I really like margarita pizza. That's with basil and tomatoes and mozzarella on it. But a meat lover's also, depending on my mood.
That's more like it. Yeah. That's my favorite as well. Tacos are probably my second favorite.
Yeah, tacos are up there. I love getting sushi. Do you like sushi?
Oh, yes. That's a tough one now. Those are my top 3. We'll say that. Yeah. Okay. Before we moved up to East Tennessee, there's one restaurant in West Tennessee that we ate at. Felt like every 2 weeks, probably, sushi restaurant, and there's nothing like it. Like we can't find anything up here, even anywhere else that even compares. It's so good.
Yeah.
And we miss it so bad.
I'm lucky. Where I live, we have a lot of good food in a kind of a short area. We have the best Mexican food, Tex-Mex you can possibly get.
I love Tex-Mex.
We got sushi, we got barbecue, good pizza places. So.
What state do you live in?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay. Oh, heck yeah. You're like the top place for barbecue. It's like y'all in like Memphis and St. Louis are the top 3. Obviously Memphis is my favorite, but that's all that's all we ever ate. So, but yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, well, if you ever want to try the Texas barbecue, you could come down and I'll take you to some good places.
Absolutely. we went to Dallas, me and my wife, about 4 years ago.
Okay.
It's really nice. So we've talked about going to Austin because there's stuff there that we want to see. Is that where the what's the HGTV people?
The Gaines?
Yes, the Gainies. They're around there, ain't they?
Yeah, I think they're Waco,
Magnolia,
but that's close enough.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, we want to do something around there. So what we got, Dave said.
Haggis.
Should I eat meat lovers right now?
Yeah.
There you go. That's the best. Thin crust, or I like thin crust, or the one that's got the cheese in it. That's it's one or the other. Tim, making me hungry. Yes, it won't be long till dinner for me as well. All right. So, do you have a favorite restaurant?
Oh man. Well, speaking of barbecue, I'll say Salt Lick Barbecue. It's a really big sit-down place.
I've been.
Have you?
Is there one in Texas or Arlington? I mean, not Dallas or Arlington.
I don't think there's one in Dallas. There's a couple around here in Austin though.
Okay, it seems like I've been to a place called Salt Lick, but it was in Arlington because I actually went and worked in Dallas when I was at another company for like 2 weeks.
Okay,
and it was amazing. I remember that. So
yeah, that's my favorite barbecue here.
Okay. So what do we got here? What's up, Tom? Oh, let's see, Dave. Oh, what's this? Oh, wrong one. Eating
Texas pizza. Oh, I don't know.
Super Bowl kickoff. I'm the defending champ. Okay.
Oh, that's fun.
Sweet.
All right, Dave. Does your chili have beans in it or not? Because my chili uses kidney beans.
Franklin's in Austin.
Oh, Franklin's is really good. Yeah.
Okay. I made barbecue pulled pork. I prefer chili with beans.
Yes.
My wife and kids hate beans like with a passion. So when I make it here, I'm the only one that doesn't get what I want. So no beans are allowed, which is the worst. But
I like to have a little bite to the chili. Otherwise, the meat kind of.
Yes, totally agree. Okay, so just a random question in the chat: who's winning the Super Bowl tonight? Y'all can type it out. Who do you think's going to win it?
I don't know.
Okay, you're not a sports fan.
I don't follow it too hard.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Chiefs just for the three-peat, but that's about it. All right. So speaking of being a gamer,
Dave says yes for the beans.
Put it in yes. However, no beans.
Same as you. It looks like Rowdy.
Yep. There you go. The sacrifices we have to make. It's unbelievable.
Rach, I'm too British for this question.
Let's see. Dave says Chiefs. Shane says Eagles.
Good to see everyone's represented in the chat.
That's right. All right. So, were you a gamer whenever you were younger, or even now?
I'm still a gamer.
Okay. What's your favorite game that you remember?
Well, I like Minecraft a lot. I played it before it was officially released, and it's just
really.
Yeah. I played it during the betas back in college.
Hey, I played Fortnite before it was the multiplayer stuff.
Oh, before it was multiplayer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I played it whenever it was just, which no one touches now, After it got massively huge, they basically just ended the first person or the single player stuff on it. Right. That's what I was telling my son. I was like, this game looks super familiar. And then I got back, it's like, holy cow, I played this before it was even that multiplayer in it.
That's so funny.
Like,
wow. There's just so much you could do in Minecraft. You could make your own story, build whatever you want. There's just so much flexibility.
Are you going to watch the movie?
Look,
hey, Jack Black is so hit or miss. It's not even funny.
I agree.
My son wants to say, "We'll go watch it."
Yeah, I mean, cool. I would watch it with if my child was old enough. I would watch it with him. But I don't think it's for me, and so I probably won't enjoy it as much as kids would. But The other game I really like is I've been playing Dark and Darker, which is kind of like a dungeon delver game, PvP. And I had so much fun in that game, and it's very fantasy. And I was hoping more people know about it, but no one seems to know about it because it's too hipster. Do you know what it is?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so much fun, Rowdy.
I've seen it. Yeah.
You got to play it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You got to put the book down and go play Dark and Darker.
Lorraine she's rugby. Yeah, no one really plays rugby here over in the States. Thanks, votes for Taylor Swift. Yep. Secret Scribes men cook and the Secret Scribes women eat.
Sure.
There
Come on
you
over.
go. Yep. Absolutely. We can do that. So
I'll cook for y'all any day. Just come to Texas, okay? Fly across the pond.
It's just a short hop. That's what they say, anyways.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm gonna say my favorite. One of my favorite. I don't know if I have a favorite game ever, but I love BioShock.
Oh, that's a good one.
The ending of that, literally, that's the first time my mind was ever blown playing a game. Do you remember it?
I never played BioShock, but I've heard great things.
Gosh. Yeah. Okay. Are you going to play it? Because I'm going to spoil the heck out of it if you don't.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it is real short. So you play the whole game, and this one person is telling you what to do through the whole time. And no matter what it is, you do it. It's just, you think it's part of what you're supposed to do because he's supposedly a good guy or whatever through the whole thing. And you're killing these big daddies, which are the big, like, got the metal helmets and got the drills on their arms, and you're trying to protect these little girls from them, or what's what you think.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the whole game doing all this stuff. Turns out he has mind control over you, and when he says the words, "Would you kindly," you have to do what he says. So you end up killing all these people that you shouldn't have. You were like the bad guy the whole time. It was so crazy. I loved that game.
Yeah, that's great. I love those games that have really good storylines to them that are not just the combat. I mean, I love combat games too, but
yeah.
Hey, Tim.
What's up, Timothy? See, suck hundreds of hours of Elder Scrolls Oblivion back in the day. Hey, I heard that the remake of that is coming out in the next couple of months on Xbox. They completely redone it, supposedly. That's the rumor.
I never played Oblivion, but I played quite a few hours into Skyrim.
I played more Oblivion. I never got into Skyrim. I don't know why. I'd like to. I mean, it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd love it.
Yeah. So
I hear people liked Oblivion better, but I don't know.
I tried, was it Fallout, and I never really cared for it neither. There's too much dialogue stuff. I mean, like when you're spending more time talking to people, I don't know. Mass Effect, fantastic. Loved it. Never played any Dragon Age. I tried Origins about 2 years ago and never was part of it.
Yeah, I never
played Witcher on and off.
Witcher's great. It's definitely one of the top games of all time for me.
Yeah. I played like the first 4 Assassin's Creed, and then like 2 games ago I played it. Yeah, Odyssey's very good.
Have you played Cyberpunk 2077?
A little. I played it on my Steam Deck, and I never could get the controls right. Did you? What do you play it on?
I built my own PC, so
okay. So when I was trying to put it on, like I said, I played it on my Steam Deck, and then I would put it on the TV screen as well and use the controller. I never could get the motion of it fixed. It always felt so like if you press over, you'd like jerk. And I looked at all the things. So I'm gonna probably rebuy it for my Xbox and try to play it on that and see if it's fixed, because I want to play it so bad, because it is. I've heard nothing but great things now.
It is really good. I think I like Witcher better, but it's still probably up there in great games. I quite enjoyed it. I haven't played the DLC yet, but I do.
Phantom Liberty.
Yeah.
I've heard it's incredible.
I do think that probably the Steam Deck is not quite beefy enough to run the game, though. Yeah. So I think your Xbox is a better choice.
Yeah, it runs it fine. Like I have no problem. There's no stuttering
it's just
in
the control thing?
It's the controls. Yeah, like they're all the same. I mean, it's good because I even went to and checked everything, watched videos on what to set it up as, and it was fine. It's just something to do with the controls on it. Just
Weird.
wouldn't work for me. I couldn't fix it. So, anyways, all right. So not into sports. So if you were not an author and didn't have the job that you have now, besides that, what would your dream job be?
Laying on the beach, drinking Mai Tais. Probably like maybe an oceanographer or something related to that. I really like the ocean. I really like the animals in the ocean. I really like laying on the beach and sunsets and no. But probably something like that. Although my rational head is like, there's no money there, so
well, it's why it's a dream job,
right?
So that would not be bad. My wife would absolutely 100% do that. That's what she wants to do. Is like,
oh, really?
Can we just please move to Florida and we'll live on the beach? I'm like, where are we going to make money?
Yeah,
I don't care. I'm just on the beach every day. That's all I care about. So, okay. Let's see. You're a bit far from the ocean.
So, only a small 6-hour drive to the ocean for me.
You're closer than me. I think the closest one to me is 7 or 8, I think, and that is the one in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, I think. So that's about the closest I am.
You'd be a ninja. That's a tough job. A lot of life and death scenarios. You got to stay up late. You always got to worry about being quiet. I don't think I could cut it as a ninja.
That would be interesting, definitely.
What about you, Ratty?
Oh, geez, dream job. Probably. I'm halfway. It's not a dream, but probably now looking at it, if you'd asked me 2 or 3 years ago, it'd probably be a YouTube gamer, where all I had to do was stream all day that I wanted to. But now,
YouTube book reviewer.
Yeah, yeah. I just let me be Daniel Green, where I don't, I can do that and have all the side stuff. But he also writes, so
yeah, he does a lot. He has got a lot of projects.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love 500,000 subscribers. I mean, who wouldn't?
Not really.
But it seems like the big ones are all like gaming YouTube channels and stuff. A lot of them that I've ever seen are huge.
What shocked me is, these gamers go and they just stream on Twitch, and people will drop $100, $300 just while they're streaming, and it just blows my mind. It's like I gotta beg someone to buy my $5 book.
Are you like my son loves watching like the guys rip packs for Pokemon? Have you seen those?
And I've seen a couple of them. Yeah,
they are crazy. He's like, I spent $1,700 on these 78 packs. We're gonna open them right now. They'll end up losing like, I don't know, $1,000. Like, it was a good job. We did great on that. It's like,
there's no value in opening the packs. They are way more valuable before they're opened.
Crazy. Let's see. Shane wants to know, how are the ninja benefits? Right, dental and life insurance.
Oh, you get dental? I would take that. Nice.
Yeah, life insurance. I'm sure the premiums on that'd be pretty high. Your chance of death, I would say, were substantially more than most. All right. If you could put yourself in a story, which one would it be? Anything you've read or anything?
I feel like everything I've read is too brutal. I wouldn't like it. Let's see. Maybe because I'm reading it now, Spricket the Bard. I feel like I could probably manage in Spricket's world. Hopefully my house doesn't get burned down against my will, but you gotta pay the price. I probably live in the freelance somewhere.
Well, I would say if your house gets burned down, you probably deserve it, because you're not the best person in the world. You know anything about the book? The Alex is a war. Here we go. Give me a sweet mustache, and I'd be for that.
Yeah, Dave's world probably is a little bit too war-y. There's too much like political stuff going on. I feel like I'd get swept up in something out of my control, and that would piss me off.
I don't know if I could go back into like medieval times and stuff and deal with like just thinking of how like hygienic we are now, like just in
Yeah.
general, and then you go back like what book did I just read? Was it Bloodwoven? Maybe I think it was where they're talking about how maybe it was that or something else where they were talking about like you hadn't showered. Oh no, my bad. It's Lonesome Dove. That's
Oh.
what it is. I remember it now. It's like you hadn't showered in days and people stink, and the way that they clean themselves is just hopping into a stream or a river or a pond.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that would be awful.
And they must have only done it like once a week or twice a week. And I mean, even
Yeah.
in the Autolic Stone, they were on the ship for a week or two. You don't
Yep.
really bathe. Like you might jump off into the freezing cold river and that's it.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I couldn't do it no more.
That and my computer, I like it too much.
Yeah.
No, there is zero chance I'd be in God's Blood Tragedy.
I've not read it, but the cover looks pretty sick.
Oh, it is a great story. Brutal, absolutely brutal. Could not survive a day. I'd probably died before I even stepped off of the ship.
Watching Shogun, I think they paved a lot. Okay. Maybe they were more sophisticated than us back in that time. What are those?
I think they were. I think they were a little bit more hygienic in Japan.
Is that the 1800s or was that further back? Do you remember?
I haven't watched it.
I don't neither. I've got the book, but it's like huge too. It's well over. I think it's like 1,000 pages. I'll eventually read it some other time. But I heard the show is great.
Yeah, I've heard only good things.
Yeah. Yeah, if I did something like that, it would definitely be more like give me like cyberpunk type area where like at least I get futuristic stuff.
Right. Although like playing Cyberpunk 2077, the streets are all super dirty anyways, so I don't know.
That is true.
I don't know if it's that much better.
Oh me.
What about you? Is there a world you'd want to go to?
That's tough. I'm trying to look at some things I have read. I say the one that first comes to mind, probably the first two, might be Lost Souls by Ryan Skiffington. I don't know if you've read it.
No, I haven't read that one.
Okay, it's good. It's a science fiction. It's kind of got like there's like body armor, like titans in it, but it's not like they're not massive humans. They have like suits.
Okay.
Looks interesting. You know, as long as you stay out of like the people's way, you're not going to get killed probably.
Yeah, I could do that.
So we can do that. And then I could halfway see like Mistborn Era 2.
Era 2, where, yeah, okay.
Yeah, where they've got the guns and, you know, they're a little bit more.
Era 1 would be miserable. Era 2, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can handle 2. So, Google says 1,600 for Shogun. Okay. So yeah, a little bit further, but I was close. But yeah, those would probably be mine if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think Mistborn Era 2 is a good choice.
Could definitely survive. Stay out of people's way. Don't have to deal with nobody crazy.
Yeah. I would not be a main character.
Oh, no. Nope. I ain't all about getting shot or stabbed or nothing. That's not really my thing. So, all right. So, what have you been reading?
So like I said, I'm about halfway through Spricket. I've been really enjoying that one. I just finished Not Your Mountain by Poppy Alexander's. That one is a fantasy adventure about a dwarf named Maddie who kind of leaves the mountain for the first time and it discovers the world. I've really enjoyed that. Had a great time. And let's see, what else did I read recently? I've been reading a lot of the other Secret Scribes books because I feel like you don't really know someone until you've read what they've written. And then, you know, you kind of have that coming together of minds. You understand each other better. So I've been trying to read those. And then, like I said, for the Sphinx competition, I've got a couple books where we're going into the final round right now. I've got like 8 novellas I have to read. So I'll be reading those soon.
Awesome. Is there... how do I say this? Have y'all released who are the finalists yet?
Yes, yes, the
Okay.
finalists have been released.
Okay.
I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Maybe I missed that and I didn't see it. Okay. I'll have to check them out, see if I can.
Oh man, the finalists, they're all phenomenal so far. It's really interesting to see. Each step of the competition, just the writing seems to get better and better. Just because we've been picking through the book, the novellas, and I think all of these are going to be phenomenal reads. I have really high expectations.
How is y'all how does that one work? I've seen, like, is it Spiffbo that it's like 300 just random if you get chosen, and then they get
Yeah.
split up between like 10 different people and they get 30 apiece and then they split them up. Is it
It's
something?
similar. They
Okay.
didn't hit the cap on the novella, I don't think, but there is,
Okay.
a couple hundred books and maybe 6 or 7 judging teams, and so we all got a portion of those books. For us in the Secret Scribes, we tried to read every single book, every single novella that we got. We had at least 2 scribes read each of them, and that's how we made our cuts for the first round. And then the
Okay.
second round, I think we only had 10 or so, and we also tried to read all of those as well. And then for this final round, everyone's going to try to read as much of all the finalists as possible, because there's only, I think, 8 or so that we have to read.
That's not bad. Tom said you rated them all 1 out of 10.
I'm known as being a very critical reader. I think I'm fair, but some of the other secret scribes tend to enjoy stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, not a good enough character arc. The plot here is a little bit shaky. This prose could have been a little bit better.
I think that's how I don't want to say it's what I'm turning into, but after reading this whole last year, I feel like I want to be a little more critical on not just throwing 5 stars out on everything.
Yeah.
And the more you read, I think the more you see what your style is on what you like and what sets good with you. And I think that's where I'm trying to be. Not that it's critical and I don't like a book because it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just more on everything's not the greatest thing you've ever read. That's what I'm trying to do.
I think the honesty is refreshing. I feel like sometimes in the indie space, it's like, oh yeah, it's the best thing ever, and you read it, and you're like, well, was it really? So I like that. I like kind of an honest take of, I think this is what it's done well. Here are some things that I didn't think were done quite as well, but everyone has their own style.
Yeah, going back to, like, I know a lot of stuff that I put on Goodreads last year. I felt like after reading them and then going into this year, it's like I felt like I probably graded stuff a little too high. Not everything, of course, but some things. But the more you read, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
And you thought,
I think that's better than the opposite, though. Like, good thing you didn't rate them too low.
No, if you watch my video, there's only one book I ever DNF'd and couldn't read, and that was Babel. I just I can't do that book. I don't know why. It's just, there's nothing that happens. And there's nothing going on that's just not for me. And I know a lot of people love that book, and that's cool.
I'm in the same boat. I need to have some action to my reading. Otherwise, I'm like, okay, if it's all character, I get kind of bored. I mean, it can be done well, but also, like, I enjoy the action part of science fiction fantasy.
Yeah. What do we got? Rating the judge for a content on Urban different to reading. Oh, I totally agree with that. Like you in your case, I don't blame you for being super critical if you've got to be. I mean, you're trying to let someone win something that's important. It will help their career. I would say would help their career. I mean, you can put on whatever. Hey, I won this.
Right?
It's a big deal.
And besides that, it's like we're reading books that we wouldn't normally have picked up. Like, if I pick up a book, I'm going to read it all the way through. But for the competition, you're just kind of assigned some books, and you get a lot of gems, that things I would never have read, but you're reading for the competition. But also at the same time, there's some things that are just not quite your cup of tea that you end up having to read for the competition. And, you try to do your best to not let that sway your opinion, try to be as objective as possible. What is the story done well, even if it's not for you? But it does feel different because of that.
No. I would agree, because even like with me, if it wasn't for like YouTube in general and listening to other people talk about like indie authors and all that.
Mhm.
Only thing I would know of would be like George Martin. I don't even
Right.
know about Brandon Sanderson until last
Yeah.
year. I mean, at all. And he's huge. I mean, you know that.
Yeah, but
But
he doesn't. He's huge, but also he doesn't have the publicity that like George R. R. Martin has. So it's weird.
yeah, it was the best thing that probably could have happened to me is learning so much about the indie space
Yeah.
on this stuff because like I'm just a lowly little YouTuber, but it's still like learning all that stuff. It helps, and then helping boost y'all's work in general. Whether one person extra sees it and they buy it, then it helps you, and that's
Thank you
cool.
so much, Rowdy.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Calm down. Calm down. I know I have a ton of subscribers. That's okay.
You're getting up there. You're making good progress with your channel.
Well, it's been all right. It's been fun. That's my favorite thing is this is all that I actually talked like Scott, some other character,
Mhm.
we're doing the Lonesome Dove stuff like offline last night. We had talked about that and me and him and Trav's bookshelf and which Kevin wasn't able to join about it. But all that I ever even started this channel for was to get to talk to other authors and because I thought that's the coolest thing in the world. Like, because I mean, for real, if you don't know nothing about any of this, you think an author is nearly like not untouchable, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah,
you're afraid to talk to them. I mean,
there's
really,
some
because
distance there
they
for
know.
sure.
Yeah. And once I'd actually reached out to Chris, Bearded Book Beast, before like when I started my channel, and I was like, man, how do you say something to like an author about one of their books or just talk to them about interviews? And he's like, dude, just ask. He's like, that's all you got to do. He's like, normally, the worst they're going to do is tell you no. I was like, I guess you're right. And I think it's just the being rejected part hurts the worst, which don't get me wrong. I haven't been rejected. No one's told me no on
Yeah.
anything that I've asked, but everybody that I've ever talked to is so friendly. And I've seen so much, like even going back to like gaming channels and stuff, people are so negative on there at
Yeah.
everything. Sports is the same way, but like something to do with books is so different. If someone's mad at you for like a book or whatever, something bad has happened.
Yeah, I do think the indie space tends to be more on the positive side, and I think we're all desperate to get some more attention on our books, so that kind of helps as well. Like we always want to be on the interviews and for people to read the book. I mean that's what we wrote it for people to read it, and having someone read it just feels amazing, regardless of what they think of it. The fact that they spent the time on something you spent 5 years on is just special.
But most of us just want people to tell us that, hey, you're the most beautiful bald man I've ever seen in my life. I hope that makes you feel good. But yeah, I agree because it helps. I mean, it helps y'all. It helps us, and it's fun to do.
Yeah.
And most everybody even the interviews that I've not did, but talked to other people, everyone's so friendly. And that is that's all they want is for you to read their book and give it a shot, whether you like it or not. Like I even seen where like, well, heck, was it Mike's book reviews? He DNF'd Ed Crocker's book, Lightfall.
Oh yeah?
Just because he didn't like the way it went. But he said the whole time, he's like, I'm not saying this book's bad. He's like, it's just not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But keep reading it. And if he's still like, hey, just read the book for yourself. That's the big thing. He didn't go out there and trash it by no means.
And that's great. I think that's the right way to do it. If it's not for you, you can say that. I have no problem if anyone doesn't like my book. If they say it's not for them, that's fine. I mean, there's lots more books out there.
Because he had went out. The first thing he said, he's like, I was expecting this because it was werewolves and vampires. That he's like, I was expecting it to be like, oh, what was it? One of the Underworld. He's like, I thought it was going to be like Underworld, but in book format. And he said it just wasn't. and and he was still good with it. He's like, it's fine. He said, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest. I've been lucky. Everything I've read, there's only been one book I didn't like, of course, but other than that, everything's been pretty good.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, your TBR and everything looks amazing too. So I think you've got a lot more good books coming up.
Well, heck, it's all of y'all's stuff. Most
Yeah.
of it is. I mean, really.
And I read most of it. And I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see. Yours, Dave's.
Greg's.
Who else?
Have you read Bloodwoven, right?
Bloodwoven.
Yeah.
I've got the second one. I'm starting in May. Or I mean, in April. And then I think he'll be on the channel in April after I read it. Because I told him try to do that before his third book comes out. And then, which I know Nick is technically not in y'all's fog bound. And then, yes, said yours. I've got.
And you're reading The Ranger right now?
The Ranger right now. Then Bella is coming up next. I've got R.E. Sanders coming up after that, I think. He's going to be on the channel in 2 weeks. So I'm reading Tan's
Last Stand?
I can't think of the novella.
Tan's Last Stand?
Yeah, maybe that's Tan's Last Stand. It's pretty good. I've read only 19 pages of it, so I'm not far. But have you read it yet?
No, that's the only one. The only scribe I haven't read, at least some of, is Rob. So
okay,
I've got his book right here. Demon's Tear.
Yep. I've got Path of Blades and Demon's Tear both. So I'm going to try to do Tan's Last Stand and then a Path of Blades if I can get it done before in 2 weeks with him, if I'm able to.
Yeah.
So Demon's Tear, I've heard, is amazing. So I just hadn't had a chance, and it's pretty chunky.
Yeah, it's a chunky boy. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to talk to him about. But yeah, the first 19 pages are pretty dang good. I was pretty impressed with it. There's some death in that I did not think was going to happen that fast. So I'm very curious how that story goes. So,
yeah, Rob is well known for his love of swords, and he's made his own sword, and he's done so much research into it. So that's what I'm most excited about, is kind of the gritty details of his world, his sword play, and yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited for sure. So,
yeah, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to Rowdy's channel. I don't know if all the scribes are subscribed yet, but do it right now. Go.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Almost there. 2 more. Sweet. The Dave's Tan's Magnificent 7th in Fantasy. Okay. I mean, that sounds like where I'm at now. Like I've only, I guess technically you've met 5 people, but there's only 3 left. So his settings are amazing. Immersive. So far, I totally agree. So it's been fun. So I'm excited to keep reading for sure, and on to his next one. Well, I've got about 2 questions left.
All right.
Do you have anything to ask me or anything in mind?
Well, I wanted to hear your take, because I gave you a suggestion of doing maybe a trope video or a trope ranking, or
I'm working on it.
Yeah, you're gonna do it.
I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm debating on doing either a top 10 or just random tropes, or a top 10 that I love and top 10 that I hate. But then
those hate videos get a lot of views.
They do, but man, I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt. Like, I don't want to say hurt someone's feelings, but make a bunch of people mad by doing that.
Nah, I mean, just tropes. I mean, everyone uses tropes.
People are sensitive sometimes.
Just don't do a bottom 5 scribes books, okay? That might make me mad.
There we go. When I'm finished reading, I'm tier ranking every one of your books, all of you. No. I couldn't do that. No, like I said, I have not read a bad one out of any of y'all yet. So
me neither. I was surprised, because we kind of came together randomly, and I was like, who knows?
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool story, how that all of y'all got together. Yeah. That was really neat, because I didn't even know that was even possible, to where, I mean, obviously I'm so new to all of it, but it was like, how does a bunch of authors create their own like tight-knit group, basically? And it's like
Dave puts a post on social media and people reply to it.
That's true. It's
That's
crazy.
all that happened. Yeah, I agree,
Accidental
Rach.
pregnancy got to be number one.
No, thank you.
No, not a fan. I've not read anything like that, and I don't really care to be.
Oh man, it is more common than it should be.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're lucky.
Yeah. I've watched a couple of videos on people writing like trope, like on what their like top 10 and stuff, just to try to see like what all is out there
Right.
that I've not heard of, and to see if that would be something I'm interested in. And I have heard of the accidental pregnancy. I'm like, but I've not read any yet. I'm like, yeah, that sounds awful.
I feel like it's more common in romantasy.
Yeah.
Epic fantasy sometimes, but I don't see it quite as often.
Yeah. There is some weird stuff like that I wouldn't even think of that people come up with to make, and it's like, how do you think of stuff like a lot of people to me that I've seen are not super fans of like zero to hero type stuff, like farm boy to hero. I'm like, oh no, I think that's kind of cool.
I like it.
Maybe
Obviously.
if that's all you've read and it's just a ton, I get it.
I do think that's part of it. I think it, because it lends itself so easy to a good character arc and a good growth arc that writers, lean on that, especially in the last 20, like 10 to 20 years ago, that was super popular. And then even before that. And it can be, if you read a lot, it's all you see, you can get bored of it.
Yeah.
So
that's my thing is I try my best if I can to I'm trying, especially like people that authors that are nice enough to send me a book to read. It's like number one priorities to where I'm trying to get them done by how that gets sent to me. But when I go through, and because I also don't read any of the back blurbs or nothing, I don't want to know that when I go into
blind.
anything, I want to go in blind. I don't know why I shouldn't do that, because that would probably save me some stuff. But yeah, what I think it's about, then I try to pick other books to read that are totally opposite of that. Like this month, I read Of Blood and Fire. I read Golden Sun. They're obviously totally different. Finished yours. The Rangers got nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah.
And then Bella's book, I'm assuming, doesn't neither. It's just try to stay away from it all where I'm not reading the same thing over. And then
I think that helps.
So, which obviously I'm new to like Dragon Rider stuff, of course, but man, so far it's awesome.
I mean, they're the reason they're the popular ones.
Yeah. So accidental printed in the third act break.
Yep.
That's like the end of a movie right there. So, oh yeah, by the way, I'm pregnant and you're breaking up with me. Rated hate. Yeah. Just wait for Smut Lord Alex's books. So many pregnancies. Zero to Hero's ultimate wish fulfillment.
Yeah, I agree. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. I've not read anything in that type in that trope that I've not enjoyed at all. Like even I would say Red Rising is kind of like that. I mean, have you read any of it?
I haven't. That's on my list though. Red Rising, I hear great.
Red Rising's good, but it ain't got nothing on Golden Sun.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. But basically, I mean, well, he's a nobody and then becomes extremely powerful.
Like I said, I think it just lends to the character arc so much that it's hard to do it wrong.
Well, I mean, to me, it makes me feel like, okay, most people, I feel like, are putting yourself into that character, what they're thinking, like, while you're reading it, he's like, what would you do if I'm me, for instance, a nobody, and then I somehow get like superpowers or get a dragon, yeah, I'm going to think I'm pretty dang awesome.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like it really puts you in the character's shoes when they start off as a nobody with no powers. So yeah.
Well, let's see. What is your favorite book you've ever read?
So I think I mentioned this earlier, but I think it's got to be The Hobbit. It brought me into fantasy. It's such a fun adventure. And, I think I like it more than The Lord of the Rings, even because it's smaller, more self-contained. And I think it has a little bit of that boyish charm to it that I feel like some of the more serious fantasy lose sometimes.
I'm gonna say mine is either either Words of Radiance or Golden Sun. Now Golden Sun has jumped up, so it's so good.
Yeah, those are good ones. I
Yeah.
love Words of Radiance, and yeah.
Have you read the whole Stormlight Archive?
No, I've only read the first three.
Okay. Let's see. Oathbringer's the third one. Have you read it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Those two are my two favorites by far. They are great. Rhythm of War.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to Rhythm of War because everyone I respect has said that they didn't like it as much.
Yeah, it's like it's basically like a dang, what feels like a science class for 1,300 pages or 1,200, whatever. He just goes over and over and over about fabrials and stuff. I just can't do it. And then Wind and Truth, it's good. It's just I was disappointed in it. It should have been better. No. Well, some people like it. Let's see here. Shane says his is The Mustaches of War. Excellent choice. See, The Hobbit is my fantasy gateway book too.
So good.
I'm gonna try. I meant to read The Hobbit in November of last year, so maybe I'm gonna try it again.
Read it to your son. I think that would be great.
I have the audiobook also. I've got the book, but I have the audiobook, the Andy Serkis version of it.
Oh, I hear people love that one.
Yeah, I've heard it's incredible. So me and him may do that because I think I've shown him The Hobbit. I don't know, I love it. We went a couple years ago. Like my wife, she doesn't care about watching movies too, especially going to the movie theater. But we, for some reason, put on Harry Potter, and we ended up binge watching all 6 or 7 movies in 2 days. I think.
Oh man!
Yeah, I loved them. Which I'd already seen them all. I thought they're all great. But she was like, "These are so good. I've got to keep watching." So heck yeah, let's go. Let's see. I also said that and Redwall. Yeah. I've not heard of Redwall.
That's with the little animal characters. Chris talks about it a lot. It's one of his favorites.
Okay. Fogbound 2. Skip.
Yeah. Find Which Wardrobe is a good one. Yeah.
I've not read it. I've watched the movie, and I thought the movie was really good.
I think the book is substantially better.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. The Real Answer, Count of Monte Cristo.
Count of Monte Cristo is great.
I have it on the way. It will be here Wednesday. I am looking very forward to giving that a read.
So I think the 2002 movie is my favorite of all time, and they completely changed the ending, and I like the ending better than the book, and Dave is going to crucify me for saying that, but
okay.
If you haven't read that one, or sorry, watch that one, after you read it, you watch it.
Yeah, I've not watched them. I've just heard great things. I actually got from my used bookstore, I got the Count of Monte Cristo, but it's a little book, and it's like 200 and something pages. And I brought it home after I paid 70 cents for it, so I don't, I'm not worried about it. I brought it home, and I was talking to another booktuber about it, and I was like, I thought this book is supposed to be huge.
It's a chonker.
Yeah, like 1,000 pages. Like I've seen a special edition that's like blue and it's massive. And he's like, "Did you get the unabridged version or the?" He's like, and I'm reading. I was like, "Oh, it's just normal." He's like, "You didn't get the full version." Yeah. He's like, "It is. It's like 1,000-page book." He's like, "Okay." So I ended up ordering a what is it? Wordworth Classic or something classics or whatever from Amazon. Like I think it's like 990 some pages for $4 yesterday.
Oh,
so it'll be in, so it'll be, I think it's supposed to be in Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think you'll really enjoy that one.
And Bellis and Three Musketeers. Yeah. Is that the same author that wrote that too? Or are they different?
I don't know who wrote the Three Musketeers.
I don't either. But I want to read it too. I remember watching the movie back in the day. It was good. Sarkis Audible Books.
Yeah.
You can't sing very well. The problem when you're reading. Okay. They've got a bunch of like poems in that, don't they, in Lord of the Rings?
They're full songs, like the elves sing when they go to Rivendell, and yeah.
Okay. Badger Warfare. The movies are all trash. Trash.
The movies are good. They're not as good as the book, but that doesn't matter.
Okay. That's right. It was the very first one. I remember that. Barnes and Noble. That is correct. I was curious. I knew I had seen that, and yes, they both by Dumas.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. That sucker's a huge book, but I've heard so many great things that I think I'm going to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good. All right. I've only got one more question. And I mean, we're rolling on nearly 2 hours.
Yeah. Probably should wrap it up.
Yeah. So what book would you recommend me to read?
Let's go with the book I just finished, Not Your Mountain by A.G. Alexander's.
Okay.
It's on the shorter side, and it's fun, a quick adventure. It's got a lot of heart, about a dwarf who just leaves their mountain for the first time and stumbles into the world face planning.
Okay.
You should give that a shot.
Sounds good to me. I will. I'll see what I can do about picking that up. That's what I try to do. Is whenever the authors tell me a book they'd recommend, I try to go get it, at least one of them.
The fun thing about this one is, so Poppy wrote it for Derby, which is a writing competition where they get 3 months to come up with an idea for a book, write it, edit it, and publish it under a pseudonym.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so phenomenally well done for only written and edited in 3 months.
Yeah,
so Derby sounds like a lot of fun. Another Derby book I'm about to read is The Sunset Sovereign by Laura Huey, and I'm excited for that one too.
Huh. Okay. I did that. That seems like ridiculous.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Especially when you hear how long some people take, just to write a book. Now,
it will be 5 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, 5 years for you. I've seen some that take like 8.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine. Like, you got 3 months, and it has to be published and put out.
Bill was working on the God's Blood tragedy for like 9 or 10, I think.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really all I have.
Thanks so much for having me on, Rowdy. It was great to talk to you finally.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming for sure. So I'll say, anyone else has any questions or whatever before we go, we will hang on for a couple of minutes and see. No, I actually think this is the most people I've ever had consistently in my live chat.
Good.
Yeah. Like for real. Like it's been like up to 15 I've seen. I was like, wow. Let's see. Rachel says, I've been waiting on Doors of Stone for 14 years. I do not know what that is.
Yeah, which series is that?
Yeah. Saw it up to 15. Yes, I did too. That's awesome. I'm very curious. Doors of Stone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
haven't read it. I've heard good things, but I've also heard it might not be for me.
Yeah. Apparently his prose are like incredible. Very whimsical, I guess you'd say. And yeah, like people, I've seen all the controversy on him too, on supposedly putting out the first chapter whenever he had the people on trying to promote something. And he said if they gave so much money that he'd release the first chapter of the book and then never did it. Oh yeah. Like,
that's not good.
No, for sure. Like 0 to hero energy for sure. Okay. So I will eventually read Name of the Wind. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I do want to read it. It just sounds intriguing to me to try it out, but I don't know when.
Yeah, it's on my maybe list, but my TBR is already infinitely long, so
no kidding. Like that's the downside.
I'm sure yours is worse.
Yeah. Just wait until 3. Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's the worst part of starting so late. Like reading is like, but and it's also the good part about it because there is so much stuff to get caught up on that it's not even funny. But then it's like, but I have so much, and now there's constantly books coming out, and then the more people you meet, and and then you're like, okay, I got to read all their books whenever they
Yep.
drop, and whew, it becomes a lot. But it's fun. At least you never run out of anything to read. That's for sure.
Yeah, that definitely. Yep. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate you being here. All right. Well, that's all I got. I guess we will end this here and had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for everybody showing up. And I guess y'all have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. And let's go, Chiefs. And we'll end it there. See y'all.
Bye, guys.